Oh, hiya, honeys. Welcome back to my spooky little corner. For those that don't know me, I am Lady Mylita, and I bid you welcome to Monster Mondays. It's just another Monster Monday. If you find yourself asking, what are these Monster Mondays that you speak of? Well, it is my delight to explain my concept to you. As other prominent YouTubers have done, I would like to combine two of my passions together and bring it forth for you, my darklings. So on Mondays, I will be bringing you macabre tales, either of folkloric monsters or epic legendary creatures, of delightfully dark and savage movies, and yes, even glorious written word of delirium and damaged souls of the dark. I am going to get that intro down eventually, my darklings, I promise. So, if that sounds like something you'd be into, stay tuned and let's dive in. Okay, honeys, before I get really into our tale today, I wanted to do a little shout out to my most handsome beau who gave me this wonderful, amazing gift of a microphone for my YouTube channel. So I'm hoping that I sound a lot more clearer for you guys. Please let me know how I sound. Does it sound good? Do you prefer it the other way? Comments, please, my darklings, comments. So I thought today, it's not really a monster per se today. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, let's do monster. I'm like, let's not do a monster today. I know that may sound a little weird, but I don't want to. Seeing as yesterday was Valentine's Day, which I hope all you lovely darklings had a good one. If you do so, celebrate it. I thought, what should we talk about then? Let's talk about the god of love. Let's talk about Cupid. I thought, that would be a good topic to talk about. So let's talk about Cupid. So Cupid is, you'll see on all your little Valentine stuff, the little cherub running around with his bow and arrows and his cute wings. And he, basically looks like a baby. So Cupid is from Roman mythology, the son of Venus, who is the goddess of love, and Mars, who is the god of war. In Greek mythology, though, Cupid is known as Eros. And Eros, the Greeks really didn't seem to know the parentage really of Cupid. They have a few different ones. One, they said it was Aphrodite, which is the goddess of love in Greek mythology, and Ares, which is the god of war in Greek mythology. But it is also said heaven and earth apparently are his parents. There's another one saying night and ether is his parents. And then strife and zephyr is his parents. So even the Greeks weren't very sure about his parentage. But usually he is treated as the son of Venus, at least. I know I've read another one where they say it's Mercury, who's the messenger god in Roman. So like really, I'm not exactly sure who his father is. But Cupid, or Eros, we'll call Eros too, is basically the god of love. Whereas, Venus is the goddess of love, right? So he is the god of love. So the one thing that I didn't know actually is that Cupid, or Eros, whichever we want to go with today, actually carries two kinds of arrows, which I thought was quite fascinating. He carries the golden ones, and the golden ones are the arrows that when you get shot, you know, you fall madly and deeply in love. Everything is grand, right? A person wounded with the golden arrows are filled with uncontrollable desire. But then he also has another one, which are lead arrows. Now, we're going to take this right up. We're going to do a very bright pink look today, so it's going to be crazy, I think. But if you were struck with the lead arrows, you feel an aversion to the other person or the desire to like flee and not be with them. So it's kind of the opposite of love in that sense. There's actually a tale of Cupid when Cupid was with Apollo. He hit Apollo with one of his golden arrows, and Apollo saw this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful nymph named Daphne. Oh, Apollo was smitten. He was in loves, total in loves. But the thing is Cupid then hit Daphne with the lead arrow. So of course, she didn't want nothing to do with our handsome Apollo, did he? Nope, not one bit. So trapped by Apollo's unwanted advances, Daphne prayed to her father, and her father is the river god Penis, and he turned her into a laurel tree, which is now the scarce tree of Apollo. Go figure. And it was one of the first of several tragic love stories for poor Apollo. Oh, poor Apollo. So myself, I have always been a great lover of Greek mythology, Greek creatures, and therefore also Roman, right? As Roman and Greek tend to kind of fall amongst one another, to be honest. So I've always had a real fondness for the mythology, the stories, and what have you. And I thought maybe while I finish up my makeup here, I would tell you one of my favorite stories of Cupid or Eros, and that is the one with him, and I hope I pronounced it Psyche, P-S-Y-H-E with an accent over it, and how they met and fell in love. So the origins of the story are quite obscure. It is like one of the classic Greek mythology stories. So as the tale says, Aphrodite or Venus, whichever story you're listening to, whichever mythology you're following here, heard of Psyche and how beautiful she truly was. So the one day she goes and tells her son, Cupid, sends him to work revenge on her because nobody can be obviously more beautiful than Venus, right? Venus is the goddess of love, a goddess of beauty. Nobody is more beautiful than Venus. Nobody. So, of course, Cupid being a good son, off he goes to exact revenge for his mother. So that's what you do, right? You take care of your mama. So off he goes. But when he finds her, well, she is exceptionally beautiful. And Cupid himself falls in love with Psyche. So what does he do? Of course, he arranges to have her taken to his palace. Once at his palace, Cupid only visits Psyche in the evening, and he warns her not to look upon him. Probably because of fear of his mother, right? Like, she finds out, oh boy, is he gonna be in trouble, right? Psyche's envious sisters convince her that her lover must be a hideous monster. Like, obviously, you can't look at him. He's gotta be like crazy ugly. Scary looking, perhaps. Who knows, right? Who knows? And, you know, here she is in this beautiful castle, beautiful palace. Of course, the sisters are, you know, envious of that. Wouldn't, I think everybody would be envious of that. It's not something that happens very often for people. I don't know back then, but, you know, I'm assuming. So the thing is when he would come and visit her at night, he would sleep by her. But, you know, the key is you can't look at me, right? So because of all her sister's envious, you know, comments, she decides that she's going to bring an oil lamp in so she can see him while he's sleeping. Clever girl, really, when you think about it. That was clever. That was clever. So she takes the lamp, she looks down at him, and wow, he is handsome. Like, stupid handsome, right? Like that, oh my God, handsome. But because she's kind of startled, like, holy cannoli, my lover here is like, wow. She accidentally spills oil from her lamp onto him, which obviously wakes him up. And of course, Cupid abandons her. He flees because now she knows who he is. And if she knows who he is, who else is going to know? That's right. Momsy up in Mount Olympus, or whatever it is for Romans, is going to know that her boy didn't do what she asked him to. So Psyche is obviously heartbroken. She didn't trust him. She went against his words. Of course, Cupid took off. She is heartbroken. So she is searching. She is searching all over the world for her lover. So after traveling for a very long time searching for Cupid, poor Psyche is having no luck, and she knows what she has to do. She's got to go to his mother's temple and kind of lay herself on the line for her love of Cupid, and her fault that she, you know, there's no way about it. She messed this up. She totally messed this up. So she goes to Aphrodite's temple, or sorry, Venus's temple. And Venus is reveling, having her under her power, basically. And she turns Psyche over to her two handmaidens, Worry and Sadness, to be whipped and tortured. Tears her clothes off and bashes her head into the ground. Just like terrible. Poor girl. And mocks her because she actually conceived a child with Cupid during this she considered a sham of a marriage. So Venus sets a whole pile of tasks for her to do. The first task, Venus throws a bunch of mixed grains at her. Throws wheat, barley, poppy seed, chickpeas, lentils, and beans, and demands that she sorts them into separate heaps by dawn. And then she leaves her to do what she needs to do, right? Like, she needs to sort them. So she leaves. Apparently, it says Aphrodite had a wedding feast to go to, so off they go. But what Aphrodite didn't know, or I'm sorry, what Venus didn't know, the ants took pity on poor Psyche. She has to do all this stuff just for her love. Unbelievable. So, assemble fleets of insects to help, and they sort everything for her so that it is all done by dawn. And of course, Venus is absolutely furious when she gets back, because Venus is like, no, you were supposed to fail. What the hey? That's not how this story goes. So at dawn, Aphrodite, or Venus, Venus sets another task for our poor Psyche, and it is she needs to cross this river to fetch some golden fleece from some golden wool from a violent sheep across the river, who grazes along the other side of the river. And then in another story, these sheep are said to be the property of Helios, which is the sun. And apparently Psyche's only intention in this was to actually drown in the river. She had had enough. She can't find her love. Her mother-in-law is a crazy goddess who just wants nothing, no happiness for her, no nothing. So she's like, you know what? Maybe this is it. Maybe I should just kind of end it now and just be gone. But on the way, she was saved by some instructions from a divinely a reed within the river, like the reeds that are used to make like pan flutes, the reeds. So she listened to it and took its advice, and was safely out. Got the fleece, brought it back to Venus, and of course Venus is, furious again. She just can't seem to win, can she, this time? Serves her right. Maybe she should have been a little nicer. So for the third task, she gives Psyche a crystal vessel, probably like a jar, or they call it a vessel. A vessel. And she's supposed to collect the black water spewed from the River Styx. It's in the River Styx, down like in the underworld. I'm pretty sure it is. Climbing the cliff from which it issued, she's daunted by the foreboding air of the place and dragons slithering across the rocks. I didn't remember this part. And falls into despair. Jupiter himself takes pity on her and sends eagles to battle the dragons and retrieve the water for her. Like, isn't it interesting? Like, all the gods and goddesses are like feeling really bad for this poor girl, because like all she just wants to do is raise her child, love her man. And like mama-in-law is like, no, I don't think so. So for the last trial, Venus actually sends poor Psyche down to the underworld, and she sends her with a box, and she says to her, so take this box and obtain in it a dose of beauty of Proserpina, the queen of the underworld. And Venus claims her own beauty has faded through tending of her ailing son, which is Cupid, by the way. And she needs this remedy in order to attend Theater of the Gods story. And so once again, despairing of her task, Psyche climbs a tower, planning on throwing herself off. Like, you can't really blame the girl by this point. Like, this stuff is quite insane. The tower, however, breaks into speech and advises her to travel to Latamon, Greece, to seek a place called Tyrannus, where she will find the entrance to the underworld. The tower offers her instructions on how to navigate the underworld. It says, the area of Dis is there, and through the yawning gates, the pathless route is revealed. Once you cross the threshold, you are committed to unswerving course that takes you to the very regal of Okurus. But you shouldn't go empty-handed throughout the shadows past this point, but rather carry cakes of honeyed barley in both hands. Doesn't seem like that part of a task, I guess. The speaking tower also tells her to remain silent, don't be talking, as she passes several ominous figures. A lame man driving a mule loaded with sticks, a dead man swimming in the river that separates the world of the living from the world of the dead, and an old woman weaving. So those are the three she is supposed to like stay silent around. These, the tower warns, will seek to divert her from pleading for her help. She must ignore them. The cakes are treats for distracted Cerebrus, which is the three-headed dog. Anybody who knows their mythology, Cerebrus. Very cool, cool creature. And the 2 coins for Sharon, the ferryman, so she can make a return trip. So that's kind of important too. If you know anything about the mythology, in order to get there, you need to pay the ferryman. It's a very important part of the tale. She listens to the tower, she goes down, and everything goes according to plan. She meets Proserpina, who grants Psyche the humble, what she desires to give to Venus. And as soon as she re-enters the light of day, however, Psyche is overcome with bold curiosity and can't resist opening the box. In hope of enchanting her in her own beauty, right? She finds nothing inside but an infernal and Stygia sleep, which sends her to a deep, unmoving sleep. So basically, she's knocked out. So meanwhile, if you remember, you know, Aphrodite has been taking care of Venus. Sorry guys, Venus. I keep wanting to call her Aphrodite today. Has been taking care of her son Cupid. And yeah, he's healed. He's got a scar, but he's healed. And he escapes his mother's house because basically she's been holding the poor boy hostage. Like, poor Aphrodite. My goodness, girl. She just doesn't want to go from the sounds of it. Like, I get it. I've been a lordling myself. It's kind of hard to let go, but come on. So he escapes his mother's house and he actually goes and he finds Psyche, right? I guess he's probably heard rumblings that all this stuff is happening. So he goes and he finds her and he draws the sleep from her and replaces it in the box that she took it out of, which was meant for Aphrodite anyways. Not Aphrodite, Venus. I'll get it right, or not. Then he pricks her with an arrow that does no harm, and then he lifts her into the air and takes the present to his mother, Venus. So after he delivers, you know, mommy's little goodie box there, you know, gives her her gift there, Cupid goes to Zeus and basically says, look, Zeus, buddy, you know, mama's been cray and, you know, I don't know what to do. And, you know, I love this woman. I want to be with her. He gives consent for Cupid's future help whenever a choice is made and catches his eye. Oh, Zeus. You dirty boy. Maybe that's a tale for another Monday. Oh, Zeus's conquest. Because he's got a lot. So Zeus has Hermes, which would be, I'm pretty sure, Mercury in Roman lore. Has him convene an assembly of the gods in the theater of heaven where he makes a public statement of approval, warns Venus to back off, and gives Psyche ambrosia. Now, ambrosia is the food of the gods. And if you eat it, well, you become a god. You become immortal yourself. You go, girl. You got your man. You did what you had to do. And this way, because they did this with the ambrosia, they can become like man and wife on equal terms, because that way they're both immortals. They're both gods. So they can have a more blessed union and, yeah, be equals. Equals. Their union, he says, will redeem Cupid from histories of provoking adultery and, scored liaisons. Zeus's word solemnizes the wedding banquet, and it is a happy marriage and result of conflicts, and the child born to the couple will be voluptas, and that means pleasure. I thought this would be too dark, but damn, it don't look too bad. So, and of course, Cupid and Psyche get married and they live happily ever after, and they have at least a child, right? They talk about it in the little tale there with Venus. But yeah, that's the tale. I was also reading that the person who wrote the story Beauty and the Beast, her name was Gabrielle Suzanne Bardot de Villeneuve, and she originally wrote it, and then it was later published by French author Jean-Marie Laprince de Belmont. And it is said that the tale of Psyche and Cupid actually was an inspiration for Beauty and the Beast. Isn't that something? It kind of makes sense when you think about it, right? Because he's a beast, and the whole aspect of don't look at me, blah, blah, blah. It makes a lot of sense. I kind of liked that. When I read that, I was like, oh, I like that. I think that really makes sense, that would be an inspiration for that tale. Because, right? It totally makes sense. And that is the tale of Psyche and Cupid, or Eros, whichever mythology you're following. And of course, we know why Cupid is associated with Valentine's Day in particular, right? Like, he shoots arrows to make people fall in love. He's a cute little cherub. And yeah, in Roman, he's the god of love. In Greek, he's the god of love. He is the son of Aphrodite or Venus, which is the goddess of love. And yeah, what a better symbol for Valentine's Day than our beloved Cupid. Although I will say, from what I've read, in Greek mythology, he was like handsome, gorgeous man. He was no little baby cherub by any means. Like, he was hot. So, thank you, my darklings, for being here with me on another Monster Monday. I hope you guys are really enjoying the series. If you like it, please let me know, comment down below, give it a like, maybe a share. Yeah, this has been so much fun. I know Roman God isn't really a monster, but it seemed fitting with being the day after Valentine's Day. I hope all you lovely darklings had a great Valentine's Day, if you so celebrate it. As always, you know where to find me. I am on Instagram and Facebook under Lady Mylita. And every Monday we gather here to have another Monster Monday. Stay safe, my darklings. Use your noggins and all that jazz. You know the story. I'll be seeing you soon. Goodbye, my darlings.